What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe. Of course, hit that bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content as when we drop it on the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this one. Let's get into last night's action. A very good fight that was predicted to be good, and it was very good. This fight did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. I suppose apart from the outcome, I wanted Leigh to win, but anyway, still a very good fight. And from the off, we saw some very good boxing from Leigh. He worked well behind his jab. He was able to sort of keep Mauricio Lara at bay, because we know Mauricio Lara, he's one of those fighters, typical Mexican style. He likes to wing in wide hooks that, sweep across, and every shot Lara throws carries power. Every single shot he throws it with sort of bad intention. So, credit to Leigh in the opening round, where he was able to sort of keep Lara at bay, and he was able to outbox him in that round and just keep him away. And that was good, because that was one of the problems Josh Warrington had. If you see him versus Lara, he had the problem where it was like he was in the wheelhouse. He was in close range, not quite as big or tall or strong as Leigh. So the same sort of dimensions as a Mauricio Lara. So he had the problem of Lara sort of being in his face, and Lara was able to get those winging shots off in and on the inside at close range. But Leigh, he learned from that, and he managed to sort of keep Lara off, especially the first round. Second round, Lara comes in. Lara has a bit of success. He manages to hurt Leigh. He manages to sort of let Leigh know that he's there. And, as the fight progressed, it was more or less predominantly Leigh in terms of the tempo and the style and how the fight was going. It was predominantly Leigh sort of having his own way, because he had Lara on the end of his jab. I was impressed with the fact that throughout this fight he was able to make Mauricio Lara think and make Mauricio Lara sort of pause, and he made him I guess you could say hesitant to just sort of come in. See, whereas with other opponents, Lara was able to just come in, get into punching range, and just sort of swarm all over his opponents and land shots. Leigh was able to, with that good left hand, that good left jab, was able to just sort of keep Lara at bay. He was able to fight sort of a tall man's fight, and that's exactly, I'm no boxing coach, but that's exactly what I would be telling him to do too. Keep the man at bay. Don't let the man get past your jab. And he was able to do that. He was able to sort of fight at a very measured pace. You always knew that Lara was explosive. Sometimes Lara would let him know he's there and land some explosive hooks or these little tight shots. And one thing you knew was that Lara was being sort of outboxed, but you always knew that whenever he landed, he made it count. Whenever he landed on wood, it was a powerful shot. And a lot of it was just purely hooks and purely power shots. He doesn't really mess about with the jab. But even the jab, as others have noted, even when Lara would land the jab would be hard. The jab would be piercing right through the guard. I'd say that although I felt Leigh was winning this fight right up until the very end, there were some things that were a little bit alarming from him. And I think one of the things that I felt was a mistake on his part was that he was kind of coming back in straight lines. He was kind of easing off of Lara sometimes in straight lines, and that allowed Lara to sort of predict and come after him and sort of know where he was in the ring. He wasn't really pivoting out of range. Another thing I felt was that, as much as I thought Wood was winning the fight, Wood's chin was sometimes up in the air, and he fights in quite a sort of upright manner. There's no sort of crouch or chin down. Sometimes the chin's just a bit too high for my liking personally. I felt that sort of cost him, because he was getting clipped with shots even while he was sort of outboxing Lara. So the fight was going Leigh way. but it's just one of these things where, in boxing, one punch can change everything. They say that especially for the heavyweight division, but to be quite frank with you, it's true in any division. So you got Leigh Wood winning the fight. We're going into the seventh round. I'm confident watching it that, well, if it continues this way, Lara is dangerous, but Leigh Wood is the man that's in the ascendancy, and if he stays on his feet, if he gets to the 12th round, this has surely got to be a victory for Leigh Wood. That's what I'm thinking going into the seventh. But, unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Wood's winning the round, and then, man like Lara just comes with a hook from the gods, as Anthony Joshua said about Andy Ruiz, and he just comes with this devastating left hook. There's about 15 seconds left to go in the round. Wood, he's all over the place. He's not steady on his legs. But in my view at the time while watching, I was thinking, well, there's 15 seconds to go. They should at least let him get through the round. But then you see the towel coming from Ben Davison, and the fight ends, and it's a stoppage victory for Mauricio Lara. I felt that, at the time, maybe he should have just let him see out the round and see if he could recover in that 1 minute rest. But at the same time, from another perspective, you could argue that, well, if he let it carry on, another punch could have given Leigh Wood life-changing injuries. They could have cut his career completely short. He could have suffered some brain injuries, neurological stuff. And I think that is a valid argument. And I think what Ben Davison done, although I thought maybe let him go until the end of the round and see if he can recover, give him that minute to rest. And, because I was thinking from the perspective of the fact that Leigh Wood is actually winning this fight. And there's, he's into the second half now, he's winning his fight, and he's just got hurt. So the fact that he's winning made me think, well, let the guy at least see out the round and carry on. But from the other angle, from the trainer side, the trainer loves his fighter and probably, really, really cares for his fighter, and he knows his fighter better than me or anyone else who's watching. So, from that perspective, in terms of if you just care about the fighter's safety and the fighter's health and well-being, Ben Davison made the right decision. But, from a selfish perspective of a fan or whatever, you could argue that, well, you should have just let him see it out. It was just 10, 15 seconds left. Wood could have probably held on to Lara or done something to, maybe take another knee to sort of see out the round and then just rise and try and get back into it and in the next round. But looking at how hurt he was, I can't really fault the decision of Ben Davison there, because from a pure sort of perspective of caring about the fighter, he made the right decision, because one more shot could have ended his career for all we know. We see fatalities have happened in boxing, life-changing injuries happen in boxing through, one punch sometimes. So from that perspective, I respect the decision fully. I thought maybe let him see out the round, but at the end of the day, he's the coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows the fighter better than, us in the audience, us who are watching it. So anyway, that's my sort of thoughts on it. It's a big shame, but one light at the end of the tunnel could be that Eddie Hearn was asked by, I think, Adi Oladipo in the post-fight interview about a rematch clause, and of course, as it is with Matchroom, they always have the rematch clauses. So I think Leigh Wood's got a rematch clause, and me personally, I think going on that performance he just had, it might be the same result, but I think with a few adjustments, he can definitely beat Mauricio Lara. He's got the skills, he's got the power to sort of keep Lara honest, but Lara's always going to be a threat with his power. His power is just on a different level to anyone else pretty much in that division, I'd say. And I think he should definitely trigger that rematch clause. He's got the skills, he's got the right tactics to beat him He would just probably need to make a couple of adjustments, maybe get that head moving off the center line, maybe pivot a bit more movement, less of the straight lines. There's a few things he can sort of work on to win this fight. But anyway, that's my opinion on it. Very good performance. You give Leigh Wood the credit because he was winning the fight, but you've also got to give even more credit to Mauricio Lara, who snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, because for me, he was losing the fight, and for him to still have that determination, although he looked fatigued at times, he looked like he was running out of ideas at certain times. So for him to come out with that left hook and just knock out Leigh Wood like that, in that manner, even in the midst of the fact he's kind of losing the fight, phenomenal for Lara, and you've got to give him all the credit in the world for that. So let me know your opinion, your thoughts on this fight in the comment section below. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.